welcome back to my channel. My name is Vianey, and this is Aztec Queen, and I haven't been on YouTube since like April, and I just wanted to come back because uh, ever since like my new husky dog, he's not my new husky. Ever since I brought back my husky from Mexico, he's a fucking handful. He has his own babysitter, which is my cousin. I have to call her whenever I need to go run errands or have a date with my man. Like I have to have a babysitter, and now I have a friend who's like willing to babysit him too. And it's just he has severe separation anxiety. I've tried everything, and I'm open to suggestions. But that's the reason I've had like a lot to deal with my husky. He's just a fucking handful. He needs a lot of fucking attention, and he's a huge fucking dog. So yeah. And ever since also got a tattoo, but that's a different story. Anyways, this is gonna be a story time about the girl next door, or the hoe next door. So stay tuned. Okay, so I'm excited because I've been wanting to tell the story forever. So back in the day, like back in 2016 or 17, I moved to Riverside. We were living with my mother-in-law for about like a year, and then I ended up befriending this girl at a work. I used to work at a animal shelter, and then she looked like really innocent, really sweet girl. And she was young. She was like 23, and I was like 25, 26. And we befriended, and then little by little I noticed that she was very like not my type of friend. She was very like needy. She was very like, oh, drive me here, drive me there, do this for me, do me that for me. It was very needy, and I was almost gonna cut her off, but then I found out she was gonna be renting. She had a boyfriend that she met on Plenty of Fish. She just moved in like within. She was running away from home, and she moved in to his house and they were just friends. And then eventually he asked her out within like that weekend, and then they started going out, and then they were together for like a year and a half by the time that I met her. So that he had a big ass like 2-acre property, and this is in Riverside again. So he had a nice house, not even like nice, it's just a nice sized house. And then there was like a little trailer, like a long trailer. Yeah, like a long trailer next. So it was kind of like a duplex, but it was just a trailer, and they had like a lot of space. So I'm like, oh my god, like I could have my own place. And it was like $300 to have my own place in Riverside, it was very fucking ghetto, but I just was excited that I was able to pay my own rent. Because at this time my husband wasn't working, so I was working at the animal shelter. I'm like, oh, I can totally afford this, and we get to move out from my mother-in-law's house, like so that way my husband and I can have our own place and like be independent or whatever. So, and I had 3 dogs, and they were like a lot of work, and they needed a lot of space. So she's like, oh, why don't you move in? These people are gonna move out. You just have to pay $300 and do some yard work once in a while. But just my husband has to do the yard work. And I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. So we ended up moving in, and from the get-go, like this girl, I caught on. I wasn't sure if it was my insecurities or me being like a jealous freak, but this girl would wear the smallest crop tops with the most cleavage, even though she legit had no titties. So I don't know why I was fucking tripping out, but that's why I didn't trip out so much. It was just basic. But I just remember she would wear the most to get attention. So I don't understand, because like she would dress like if we were going to a bar or something, and we were just painting the place that I was going to move into. And at this time I was working part-time, so I was working like Monday. Like I was having a different schedule every time. It was like a rotating schedule. It was different every week. But I worked like 3 days out of the week, maybe 4 or 5 hours of the day. Like I wasn't always at work, but I was at work random times. But the day that we were supposed to be painting, she was painting with my mother-in-law and my husband the place. I had already bought the paint and everything. That she was helping out. But then I get there, and she's just a little fucking ass crop top, a little crop top and little shorts, painting with her ass out, her tummy out. Like I don't understand. But I just ignore it. I'm like, oh, I have nothing to worry about. Like I'm pretty confident in myself. Like I'm good, and I know what my husband's into, so I'm not worried. So that happened. So I ended up moving there, and this is around the time I started first smoking weed, or being introduced to weed, like edibles and all that stuff. and I was always really against it when I was younger, but then I got into it when my husband needed it, like CBD oil, CBD for work, like just CBD just to like concentrate or whatever. But he doesn't do that stuff anymore because like it just doesn't work for him. Like nothing works for him to like concentrate. So I started doing edibles, and it was like not a big deal. It was fun. I actually have an edible story, like the worst trip I ever had. Maybe I'll do it now, but I don't know. So around this time, we were having we were having like we were starting to do weed or whatever, and she would come over a lot and smoke weed because she always had lots of weed like with her. She would come over and she'd smoke weed or whatever, and I always hated like sharing stuff with her because I don't trust a hoe's mouth on a pipe in my pipe. Like no, I don't like to share. But I noticed I started noticing that this girl was always after my man. Like when her and I were alone together, it was cool. But whenever my husband came around, when came from work or whatever, um, I just remember she would act different. Like she would change it up. She'd be like, "Ah, yeah, like oh my god, yes," and like really, I had no idea. Like she would just do the most, and I'd be like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like you legit say you're not into white boys or whatever, but you're over here into him. But so I had this weird schedule where it would be like some days I would work, some days I wouldn't. So the only way she would know that I wasn't home was when there was my car wasn't there because my husband had his own car and I had my own car, and she noticed that I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like this is my hypothesis, like of how this all went around. But one day, like I think I let her borrow a towel one time, and because we went to the beach together, and she like decided to bring it back on the day that I wasn't at work, which is weird. I'd be like, oh, my towel's back. She like, and my husband would be like, oh yeah, she brought it over. I'd be like okay, well she could have just done it when I was here. You know, it's kind of weird that she only comes and visits when you're not here. And he's like, oh, I don't know, like she just dropped it off. I'm like, okay, cool, not cool, but it was just really weird. Um, and she was just fucking scandalous in the way that she was so disrespectful to me. And I just remember there was a couple times she came by. She came back to my house when I wasn't here to give me back a pan. Or in one time she came by to give Alex some weed, like some chocolate. He didn't ask for all this. Like I know for a fact. Like he knows how crazy I get. Like how like psycho I am when it comes to jealousy. Like don't be fucking walking around over there. Like he knows. And we had cameras in the house. Like we had cameras like for the dogs, doggy sitting like cameras. So I know. So I was, you know, but I just didn't like her that she was doing that shit. And then I think what really, really fucking like pissed me off was one time she invited me over to a party, and it was literally not just a party. It was her, her boyfriend, and her one guy friend, and me and Alex. And there was like the couches were sectional. She was sitting with her boyfriend, her and the friend, and then me on this side with my husband, and then my husband on this side. And this girl was in a dress with her legs wide open, like sitting Indian style, like I am right now. But like she was showing everything to everyone, and not even everyone. It was just my husband and I in that angle could see everything. And I'm like, hey girl, I can see your underwear. She's like, oh my god, I'm sorry. And she covers it, and then within 2 seconds, she's like back into the regular position. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I'll see you later. And then I'm like, should I be upset? Should I not be upset? Like, she's being sloppy, but this is not the first time. She's just doing a lot of like hoish shit towards my man. Like, I don't understand what the fucking point is, because I remember I threw him a surprise birthday party right when we moved in, and she wore this like lingerie looking kind of fucking top, like pushed her boobs together, and like it was like this red top. I don't know, but as soon as my husband came home, because we were trying to get like get all the people that he knew inside before he showed up, and then finally he shows up, and she like runs up to him like, and I'm like, this bitch, and then of course, I had my cute dress, showing my goodies. So I'm like, legit, like fucking like, I'm like, hi Alex, how do you like my shirt? Like, how do you like my dress? And this girl was like right there, like trying to like, what the fuck? Like, girl, calm down. Like, your man's right there. Go fucking entertain his ass, okay? And then she wanted to go to get changed, and it was me and some other girl, that were friends with her that were all hanging out. And then she's like, I'm gonna this top is very tight. I'm gonna take it off. And then so we went with her. She wanted to get changed, and then she wanted to wear something even more scandalous, legit, an actual fucking lingerie thing. I'm like, girl, there's a bunch of guys there. Like, who are you trying to impress? Legit told her that. She's like, I don't fucking care these guys. I don't give a fuck. And then since I called her out, she ended up wearing some like white dress that covered up, kind of like this, like a white dress. And I told my other friend, like, hey, let's go get dressed up too. So then I pulled out something more scandalous, and I told my friend, like, wear whatever you want, and for my closet, but she didn't end up getting changed. I ended up dressing like even more scandalous after that. I'm like, why the fuck is she trying to? Whose attention is she trying to get? Like you're at my fucking party. Like, what are you doing? And it's my husband's birthday party. But she's always trying to get his attention. It was fucking like one time I came home from work, and my husband and I switched cars. I forgot why, but it was like he was gonna get like the tires done. I forgot what it was, but he was gonna fix my car, so I was driving his car. So I pull up in his car, and she was legit wearing like a little crop top that came up to here, where your half boob shows, and like I think she was wearing a bra underneath, like a red bra, and like these tiny like they looked like underwear, so they were shorts, and she was like waving to the car, and then she noticed it was me, and she just started doing like this, like she knew she was fucking like wearing some like scandalous thing, and like I'm just counting the times that she did some hoish shit that I was not comfortable with, and where like I'm telling you, the house was like their house was right here, and my like trailer was right here, so it was like their house, my house, and then like there was a string where you could hang clothes, and that was in front of her laundry area where she has big ass windows. And so like I remember I was hanging clothes. She's like, oh my god, sometimes I forget that you guys are here, and I'm always walking around naked. And one time Alex was hanging clothes, and I fucking had to duck down because I forgot that you guys live here. And I'm like, well, I've been here for 3 months. How do you forget? Like, what the fuck? That's fucking dumb. Like, I don't know. I just like I think I left it off, but I was like, this fucking hoe is dumb as fuck. I'm like, I'm not worried because, again, I have more to offer than she did. So I wasn't worried. It's just disrespect. I think what really pissed me off, it wasn't that I was insecure or jealous of her looks. I was pissed off of how disrespectful someone could be, because I actually did it to her back one time. We were playing beer pong. We were playing beer pong. I think her brother was there. I don't remember, but her boyfriend was there, and so we're all having like this little beer pong game or whatever. And I remember I had like those low cut t-shirts, and we were playing. It was me and her like playing ping pong or beer pong. And I just remember I used to like squeeze my boobs so she could like use it as a guide. But I mean, like her boyfriend was right there, and then I remember she tried to do that, and her boyfriend called her out and be like, "Don't do that. You got nothing there. Like, just stop." It was embarrassing, but I just remember I tried to be a little petty sometimes too. Like, she was doing that shit to me all the time. And then it's like I can win the war in the fucking battle if she really wants to play that game. But once she did the whole underwear thing, I was fucking done. I was just fucking done. And one time I told my husband, you know what? I think this girl's after you. She has the host tendencies, because every time my husband's friends would come over, like she'd be like extra, and try to get their attention and stuff, and I'll be like, oh my god, he was looking at me. Oh my god, he was looking. I'm a snack. Like, he was looking at me. Oh my god, he really wants me. She would always be like, every guy wants her. Like, legit would say every guy wants her. And I'd be like, okay, sure. And I just remember I told my husband, I think this girl's after you. I've already told her like to calm the fuck down, but like I've kind of given her some hints. But since it doesn't matter what the fuck she does. If she wants to come over and just fucking don't answer the door. Just be like, Vinny's not here. Sorry, bye. And like I trust him, but I ended up having a big fight about that, because he didn't see that his actions were feeding her fucking actions. Just fucking be rude to her, like tell her no, like So I had to train him with that. But I one time, I'm like, you know what? just fucking, if she ever invites you over because her boyfriend wants you to come over, don't come over. Just fucking don't do it. I think I told him that. I told my husband a week before that happened. I don't know how I know, but like I knew I knew she was gonna invite him eventually, without me there. I was working late this day. I was closing with my coworker, so I remember closing. It was we closed at 7, and I closed the store with my coworker, and then I'm driving home, and I have this nasty gut feeling, like I have this nasty gut feeling in my stomach, like something's wrong, and I call my husband. Oh, and then I think I saw, and I was driving. I was really like, this is not cool. Don't do it. I was driving. I opened my Snap, and I saw a story, or she snapped a video of her and between my husband and her boyfriend, and she's just smoking weed, passing it. And I was so fucking pissed because I had just told him a week before that not to fucking do that, and he still did it. He went over to her house because what had happened was he got invited over by the boyfriend. So he got invited over, so he went over because the boyfriend invited. So I guess technically he didn't get invited by her. It was, but anyways, we had a fight about this. So he was there, and then I get back, he's already not there. So I was kind of like, come on, like, you knew you were doing something bad if you got home before I did to cover up. And I'm like, bro, like, I already know you were at her house. He's like, I already know you went over to her house. Why the fuck did you go after I told you not to? He's like, well, her boyfriend invited me. Like, it's okay if her boyfriend invites me because her boyfriend's there. I'm like, all right, we'll talk about this later. So we got in a big fucking fight. But then the next day she asked me to pick her up from work or something, because it was literally down the street from the house. And I did. I picked her up, but I was livid. I was already fucking pissed off at her. I didn't want to have anything to do with her, and I was already looking for places to move out. And I told her, you know what? I need to talk to you. Like, I don't like the shit that you did. The whole, like, being, like, with your fucking underwear, showing your underwear to my man. Like, you're fucking gross. That's disrespectful. Don't you have respect for your man? Like, you're always complaining that people are always after you, but look at what the fuck you're doing. And my husband definitely does not want you, so, like, stop it. And then I told her, like, don't fucking invite my man when I'm not around. Like, don't do that shit. Like, that's fucking disrespectful. When have I done that shit to you? Like, don't fucking do that. Like, don't invite. He's like, well, if you don't want your man, like, if I'm gonna be sloppy, I was high, I was drunk. Like, oh my god, if you don't want your man to see this, don't fucking bring him over. I'm like, I'm not going to fucking parties anymore. Don't worry about that. But also, don't fucking be inviting my man over to the house. He's like, oh, well, but I really want to hang out with him. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. I said no, and that's it, you know? And I guess she was crying or whatever. I think she was crying. Yeah, she was crying about it. And then, so I just stopped talking to her. And I remember she was texting me over, about this whole situation. And I was telling her, look, you've complained about this other dude who was my friend's husband or boyfriend at the time, trying to get at you. But look, you're over here fucking doing all this wild ass shit. Like, making it seem like you really try to break up my friend and her boyfriend when he was just telling you, hi, how's the weather? Or whatever, you know? And you're making it seem like, oh my god, he wants me. Like, I don't know. It was just weird. But I just remember that, like, she was not, like, innocent at fucking all. Whatever. She was just fucking disgusting. Found out she had gonorrhea once or whatever. Not gonorrhea, chlamydia. So I'm like, oh, I'm not fucking sharing nothing with your ass. But, that's why I'm like, what the fuck? It's just so fucking disgusting. But eventually I moved out because I just couldn't handle how fucking gross she was. I remember when I stopped talking to her, like, maybe, like, 2 weeks later, she's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry I stopped talking to you. I'm like, excuse me? Like, I'm glad, like, the fuck? Like, I stopped talking to you, but I'm like, okay, whatever. And then she came outside. We were talking outside, and then she's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. She starts crying on me. Like, she hugged me and started crying. I'm like, when you hit this point in my personality where you're like, when I have no empathy for you, it means you've really, really fucking done some, like, fucked up shit to me. Because I've been used and abused by different people. Like, people always use me all the time for, like, oh, give me a ride. Oh, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Like, I'm a nice fucking person, but she fucking pushed my buttons, every fucking button I had. But it did make my relationship strong because my husband had to learn a lot on how to respect me. But it did make my relationship stronger, and it made me a little bit more confident because I wasn't worried about him trying to cheat. It's just, she's fucking being weird. Like, who the fuck does that shit? Like, who the fuck is always over at my house when I wasn't there. There's 3 days of the week that I'm not home, and those 3 days you decided to return my stuff. It's like, dude, you're just trying to see my man when I'm not around. Who the fuck knows what you're wearing or what you're trying to do? Like, and my husband always said, "Oh, don't fucking worry." She reminds me of those, the little fucking worm thing guys from the Men in Black. You know, Men in Black, where they are drinking coffee. They're they have no body shape or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's fucked up. Like, I know you see her like that, but it's still fucked up. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of her. It's just the fact that the way he saw her, he's like, ugh, no, thank you, I'm good. And I'm only secure because we've been together for like, what, 13 years. I haven't had any fucking issues. Any girls, and the girls are always after him, and he's too fucking dumb to know when the girl's fucking flirting. Which it took me fucking 3 years to get to get with him. Like, he's kind of like dumb when it comes to like flirting and shit and like catching it. He's like Sheldon. I don't know if you guys seen The Big Bang Theory. He's like Sheldon, but the like the not non-scientist kind of guy. Just like the like sarcasm shit just fucking goes out of like above him. But yeah, so that was the time that I lived next to a hoe. I was trying to get my man, and it didn't happen. And the worst thing of all, I'm just a side note. She would complain about her boyfriend, and it was so fucking horrible. She would say, it was so sad because this guy was a sweet, sweet guy, sweet man, like sweet. One time she like legit ran away from him, and he was looking for her in my house. So is she here? And I'm like, no. And this is around the time she was telling me I don't want to be with him. He's so disgusting. And that was around the same time that my husband's friend was living with us. Like, she was trying to get away so she can go to a relationship. Long story short, she was complaining about her boyfriend and how he hasn't married her yet. They were only together for 2 years, but she wanted to get married right away. And I think it's because he owns property. Anyways, I just remember it was really fucked up the shit that he would say about him. It was saying like, she was like, oh, he's so fucking disgusting. I have to hold my breath when he gets on top of me. It's so fucking gross. Like, he's so disgusting. I can't stand him. He grosses me out. Ugh, I don't want to have sex with him. And I'm like, but you wanted him to marry you? Like, you're fucking crazy. And then she one time she called me and asked me if my mother-in-law's renting any rooms. And I'm like, no, she's not. Like, even though she was, but fuck, no, you're not going to live with my mother-in-law's. And she was like, yeah, he's so fucking disgusting. I can't stand him. He's so fucking gross. And literally 2 days later, she was like hiding from him. And they were looking for her. And I was like, oh, this is why I don't want to be around her. Like, this is why I kind of like slowly stopped talking to her. And ended up being really good friends with her friend. And she agreed with me too. She was like, oh yeah, she's hot. But whatever. And then like around December, they got married. Like, they got engaged legit 2 weeks after she went missing from him. Like, when she was talking all this shit, I know his friends tried telling him like, hey, this is what this girl's saying. This is what this girl's saying about you. Like, oh, I don't even know if they told her. Like, I think they were going to tell him, hey, she's not good for you. She's saying these things about you that she doesn't like you. I think they were going to. They planned it, and then they decided just to be like, are you sure you want to get married? This is a big deal. Are you sure? Like, we know you guys fight a lot. Like, they're trying to tell him and then didn't end up telling him. And I know they're married now and have a kid. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, I don't fucking know, but when you complain about a man like that, like, he's so disgusting, I have to hold my breath to have sex with him, it's fucking sad. But that's why I didn't mention any names. It's just, I just remember this. So if he fucking says this, I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, fucked up, but yeah, she's a hoe. But she's trying to be a hoe. No, she was a hoe for sure. From the stories that she told me. But she was trying to like catch my man's eye, and it didn't work out for her. She was gonna catch these hands, but I had to be a good girl because I'm a good Christian girl. But sometimes you don't know. Sometimes like I wanna, fucking be like who I really am. Like, not, I don't wanna. I'm a good Christian girl, but sometimes people try it. People try it one of these days. Fucking someone's gonna try it and they're gonna fucking catch it. Which is another story. I did get in a fight, but that's a different story. Anyways, so yeah, and that wasn't the only one that tried it, but that's one of my stories for today, just because I'm trying to get back and give you all the story times that I can, because right now I'm prepared. My husband just got home, so I guess I'll see you next time, and I hope you liked it, and if you don't like it, it's because I rambled, but yeah. I hope you liked it and see you next time. Bye.